Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Vinny Costa, editor of Street Muscle Magazine, and your host of the RodCAST, the all-encompassing car show where we talk about all things automotive. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Greg Acosta, editor of Engine Labs and all-around tech guru. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Vinny, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Yeah, excited to do another episode, man. I can't believe it's already been this is episode 16, man. It's crazy. This
I
year's
know.
flying by.
I know it feels like just the other day when we're sitting in a hotel room, trying to get our computers to work. And yeah, I mean, that was literally yesterday.
It's been fun, man. I was just telling you yesterday how much I appreciate your help with all this. We started conceptually putting this together early in the year, and I had this idea like late last year, but I brought it up, and thanks to you and your help, we were able to just kind of run with it. And the first few episodes went really well, and we just stuck with it. So we've been doing it every week, and thanks to our viewers showing us some love, we're going to keep on doing it, man, every week. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have, I think, 49 episodes, because there was a couple of weeks in the very beginning where we were trying to decide if we wanted to do it every week, every other week, but I digress.
Yeah.
This week, we have a very special guest. She's an accomplished racer, a writer, and the editor of Power Automedia's Ford Muscle. She's one of us, and of course, I'm talking about Stephanie Davies-Bardekoff.
Hey,
Hi, Stephanie.
guys.
Hey,
How are you?
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we've had some other editors on that run some of our other titles, but you are at the helm of Ford Muscle, formerly Ford Next. When you guys merged with Ford Muscle, you've been doing that for how long now?
It'll be a year next month.
Wow, I can't believe
Yeah.
it. That
It
flew
was
by.
July of last year.
That's wild. That's awesome. But yeah, you've been over there publishing some really cool stuff, putting out great content. FordMuscle.com, and basically, I wanted to bring you on and talk about a lot of exciting things that are happening in the Ford world, in your life, and just in the automotive world in general. So, as with most of my guests, I like to start at the beginning of not only our show but their career. So, can you take us a few steps back and kind of walk us through not only your racing career but your journalistic career as well?
Yeah, sure. So I went to Rutgers. I'm from Jersey originally. I went to Rutgers. I graduated with a degree in American Studies. And then from there, I went to work for 10, which was formerly Source Interlink Media. And I worked on originally their Muscle Mustangs title, but then I moved over to their GM titles, Mopar, and even like Circle Track. And I was there for like 10 months and they closed the Tampa office. And I don't know if you remember that. That was like 2014. And they let like half of us go all in one shot. So after that, I hung out in Tampa for a little while and just tried to figure out what my next move was. I had like almost no experience. And I got a connection with Roush Performance out of Michigan. So they flew me up for an interview to become like their like on-staff writer, which they didn't have one at that point. So they hired me up there. I moved up there in November of 2014, which is not a good time to move from Florida to Detroit. Really bad. It was awful. But I moved up there and I took the job, and then I moved to their events coordinator position, and then finally I became their PR manager. So I did a few different things there, and then about 3.5 years later, they also they decided to outsource their marketing. So that's when I left Roush, and then I found my way over here.
So you being like a kind of dyed in the wool Ford girl, was that like a dream come true to be like, oh, cool, I get to go work with Roush, like this house of blue oval?
It was crazy, and it was really, really exciting, and it was kind of like being starstruck. Um, but it was like once you got there, it's like it just becomes part of day-to-day life. But like it was constant, just people being like, "You have the coolest job in the world. You're so lucky." And it's like you know what that's like, right? People always think that your job is like it's work. It's still work,
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but I did. I got to travel the country. I got to tell people about the cars that I love so much. And yeah, I was really lucky. I met Jack a handful of times. I worked side by side with Jack Roush Jr. and I raced with Susan Roush. So I kind of knew the whole family.
Yeah, tell us more about that. How you got involved with the racing program, and I know that that's also part of your background even before you were with Roush. So how did that play a part in what you were doing there?
Yeah, so my dad grew up racing. My dad has a 66 Fairlane 427 R code, and there were 57 of them built, and he bought it as a rolling chassis for $400 and when he was 19 years old. And he started racing it right away, and he still has it. So I grew up around that. Like I remember being like 3 years old and like climbing through the roll bar in that car. And like there's pictures of like my older brother like drinking a bottle laying down on the front seat. Like
That's
we
awesome.
were we were always, around that car and at the track with him. And when it came time for me to get a car and my license, I didn't care what it was, to be honest. I just wanted a car. And my dad talked me into a Fox body. And kind of just the rest is history with that, because I just daily drove Fox bodies like up until I turned my car into a race car and decided I needed a truck. But I had been at Roush, I don't know how long, maybe like 6 months or so, when they approached me and asked if I wanted to go race for them, which was like weird. And I know we were talking about this yesterday, but I had gotten a Coyote from Ford to put in the car, just to put in the car. And I was
Right.
like, it's probably going to take a while. I'm not going to be able to afford this for a long time, Um, but they came to me like just a couple months after I got that Coyote, and they were like, we want you to race for us. And I had never drag raced a day in my life outside of Tune. So I was like, well, that's a lot of pressure, but we'll give it a go. So yeah, they built my car at Roush headquarters. It was cool to see a Fox body being built right next to like brand new S550 Mustangs. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
And then I did 3 years with them. So it
That's
was great. It was a really cool experience.
I bet. I want to go down like a little bit of a rabbit hole here for a sec. So you said that you'd owned multiple Fox bodies. Which one has been your favorite? Are you a Four Eyes fan, etc.?
I love Four Eyes. I've never had one, but I would love to have one. We actually, with this car, we're going to put a Four Eyes front end on it.
Really?
We were going to, but Eric really, my husband really wanted to, and I was like, I just wanted it to look like the same car, as it did when it was Roush Fox, which was its name when it was being raced for them. And it's undergoing a complete overhaul, but I just wanted it to be like, no, it's the same car. And I felt like if we switched the front end completely, no one would make the connection,
I
But I had an '89 hatchback, LX. Then I had an LX convertible, which was my least favorite. Did not like it. And then this third one, the one that's my drag car now, is a 92 LX hatchback. But I had chosen it because it was manual, and my other two had been automatic, and I was over it. So when I bought it, it was manual, and it was that emerald green color.
Oh,
That
I
is
love that color.
the best color on a Fox body. So when I found it,
So far, convertible, two hatches. You were considering the 4i. What about notch? No love for the notchback?
I love notches. They're so
Me too.
expensive, though.
I know they're so hard to find too.
Yeah, my brother has one, and he's had it since he was 16. He's 33 now, so he's had it a long time.
Oh wow.
And it's beautiful. It's a black notchback with that red leather interior,
Yeah.
Can't beat it. So he's building that into a drag car now. He actually just bought my first Coyote from me. So
Very
he's going to
cool.
put that in there, and he's going to go, I think factory stock is his plan.
So I want to take a step back here, and Greg, feel free to put up a photo of Stephanie's Mustang whenever you get a chance. But I do want to ask you, being like you mentioned, you said you never drag raced a day in your life professionally, but you're also in this like legendary house of speed, right? So you have the opportunity to learn firsthand from some people who are very knowledgeable about the sport. What were the biggest things that you took away from that program?
So I think like initially the biggest things I took away were how to build a race car in 6 months, which was supposed to be much less time. But it ended up taking quite a bit longer. I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into, and I don't think Roush knew what they were getting themselves into. They're used to working with brand new stuff.
Yeah, what were the biggest challenges that you guys faced that made it take much longer than you thought?
I built that car in 2015. It was still, I know Coyote swaps are everywhere, but it was still just ramping up. Companies weren't making like a ton of stuff for Coyote swap box bodies yet. Like we had decided to go with Maximum Motorsports was like huge in building my car. They were so supportive, and they had given me a complete suspension for the car with their K member. But then that K member only works with these headers, only works with, like everything was like a puzzle. Things
Right.
just were very difficult. And then we tried to make the Hydro Boost work on the car. I poured thousands of dollars into the Hydro Boost, and it never worked. And I ended up just taking it all out and throwing it in a box and walking away from it. And I had, it was just like things that I had to learn just by not having any luck. And even like when you're at Roush and you have these techs at your disposal and these engineers at your disposal who are so smart and they know so much, and it's still difficult. I think if I were doing it now, it'd probably be a lot easier.
Right. Yeah. Hindsight being 2020 and all.
Yeah. And the aftermarket support too,
I'm curious. I have a couple questions. The first being, what class were you racing? And on the racing side of things, I know that you learned a lot building the car, but on the racing side of things, what were some key takeaways for you?
So I ran in Ford Muscle, and I ran in this car, and I also ran in Roush gave me a couple different cars while I was waiting for this car, and then Bren Speed. They were basically my partner. They transport the car for me. They took care of everything, and they finished the build. They gave me an RS3 that was called Four Leaf that I ran for a while too. So I ran all of those cars in Ford Muscle in NMRA. And I think what did you say the biggest thing I took from racing?
Yeah. The biggest takeaways that you, I guess, learned while you were transitioning into this, this role as a serious racer.
I learned so much because, to be honest, like I knew nothing. Like I was green. Like coming in, launching the car, anything that I needed to do when I got to the track, I had no experience in. And I managed to finish, I think, 4th overall in my first season, which I wasn't too mad at.
Yeah.
I did that season 3 different cars. So as soon as I got used to a car, they were putting me in a different car,
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think I just learned a ton. It was my first time ever in a 10-second car, my first time ever in a 9-second car. It was just learning all of those little things. And I think like one of the biggest things that is always in the back of my head when I get in my car or in a car is like making sure that you're completely focused. Because I think that's something I struggled with in the beginning. I'd kind of let the things that were going on outside the car affect me. And it was really just learning to like hone that in and like drown out everything except what you're looking at and what you're supposed to be paying attention to.
what are some of the things that you do before a race to get in that zone?
I don't really do much. I think that a lot of times it looks like I'm being antisocial because I'll sit in my car and put the window almost all the way up and I'm like, don't, like, everyone leave me alone type deal. And it's not that I'm an antisocial person. It's just I know myself and I need that time to like get in my own head. But other than that, like, I really don't. I just go about what I need to do and make sure that everything's done on the car before we leave the pit. Um, and that's
Well,
pretty much it.
it's quite a bit different. Being part of a real racing program, rather than I'm in reference to the pressure that you must feel, or even if it's self actuated, but it's quite a bit different than kind of messing around on the street like so many of us probably grew up doing.
Right.
So I think a lot of people would hear that question and think, "What do you mean get in the zone? You're just racing." But I don't care, if you're John Force. When you're in that staging lane, you're going to feel something different than when you're out on the street.
Yeah.
And and
Well,
uh,
just that things go wrong so much quicker, They can go wrong so much quicker. And that's like where the focus comes in, I think, making sure
exactly.
you're doing everything you need to do to protect yourself, to protect the other person in the other lane, and to protect your car, because if you're not paying attention, things can go wrong really quick. And nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah, I think we as enthusiasts sometimes forget about the volatile nature that these like big, powerful vehicles can have, right? Like they can be just that, big, powerful vehicles, and if you don't handle them properly, to your point, it can be very dangerous.
Right.
Um, but like I said, it's very different than kind of messing around on the street, which brings me to another question that I have. I know that we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but you're originally from the East Coast. I'm West Coast boy my whole life, and I grew up, doing a little bit of um, street racing. Street racing like everybody did back in the day, and I'm sure many people are still doing. But out here, it's a lot of like back roads, at least where I'm from, in Bakersfield, California, a lot of farmland, wide open dirt roads, things like that. What was it like on the East Coast? What was your experience in your younger days? Do you have any stories that you can tell us?
I feel like I should tell my parents to click off. Um, Yeah, I mean, I'm not by any means an expert in street racing or even spectating, but we were around it a bit. I mean, I hung out with a group of friends that had some pretty quick cars, street cars, and even a couple that were, a little bit more than that, and were trailered places. I don't want to put myself on the spot here,
No,
but
you don't have to.
um,
I mean, don't incriminate yourself.
yeah, yeah.
The
No,
statute of limitations has expired.
yeah, well,
Just
you're probably right. This is quite a few years ago, but yeah, we would. I mean, like we were talking yesterday. Like I've never been out there, but I'm on Long Island, and Brooklyn is like ridiculous. It still is. I mean, they live stream it out there constantly. I mean, Instagram is just full of live stream videos of Brooklyn.
Yeah,
But like when we were, what?
you know how people tag, oh yeah, racing
Oh,
in
Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Brooklyn. You're seeing.
Okay.
Um, but down like by school, there are like they would go a little further south and go into more farm type areas, and but they would also, like we were talking about yesterday, they'll just like shut down on ramps and just like the amount of people in cars. There's so many people. Like even if the cops show up, what are they really gonna do?
See, that blows my mind. I always thought that was just something in the movies, right? Like, oh, that's just some Fast and Furious stuff. Because I'm not originally from the city. I grew up on a dairy farm,
Oh, okay.
and so when I would see those things in movies, I thought it was totally unrealistic. But as I got older and got more into the industry, you see like sideshows happening in the Bay Area, real street racing going on in LA, and to your point, in New York, I couldn't believe it when you told me that. I was like, they shut down highways? Like,
Oh
that's
my God,
wild.
it's crazy. They will pull up with trailers, shut down the highway, and pull the cars off the trailers, like right in the middle of the highway. It's insane. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. You couldn't catch me dead out there, but you know, some
I
people
don't
are
know if
really
you're
into it.
bragging that your car is fast or if you're saying that you wouldn't go out there.
No, I don't think my car's fast enough, to be honest.
That's funny.
It wouldn't get anywhere on no prep.
Okay, so I want to take a step back and go back to when you were at Roush. So you get caught up in this racing program. Sounds like you're having a killer time and learning a lot. I'm curious what your experience was as a woman there. You know, so many of the people that we work with in this industry are, well, you know, they're men, and that's I don't know. I can't really comment on that. It's just a fact. And so you being our first female guest, I kind of wanted to get your take on that. What your experience was there, and what your experience is now, and are things changing?
So when I was at Rouse, like being on the marketing team, I feel like marketing can tend to, you know, be a pretty diverse you know, type of career. I worked with probably as many females as males in the marketing team, but in Roush as a whole, yeah, it was definitely like a male dominated company. And like even before that, the magazines that I was with way back when, and you know, it just tended to be that way because women don't tend to be interested as much as men for the most part. Um, so yeah, I mean, but like I always felt like I kind of fit in because I loved cars and they loved cars, and I never felt like I was really treated any differently, you know. Um, I guess like there's always those things, right? You have to have a thick skin. We were talking about this yesterday. You have to have a thick skin, especially when you're putting yourself out there, like online and stuff, because people can be tough, and I think sometimes they can be tough on women because they're women, and what do you know, and you know. But like we were saying yesterday, they're few and far between. For the most part, I've had nothing but positive experiences, and to be honest, a lot of my career I've been supported by men who believed in me. I've never had like a woman boss who was the reason that I've, you know, been able to work my way up. I've always had men around me who were like, you can do this, you know. Your gender doesn't matter. If you work hard and if you care about these things and if you know, if you have the knowledge, then you can get wherever you want to be, really, you know. So I can't fault the gender thing.
Yeah, well, that's refreshing to hear. I'm glad to hear it actually. You know, I think now more than ever, we're seeing that. You know, that's true. You know, for example, you know, I have more projects than I can count right now, and I have an older sister. She's a year older than me, and she's always kind of been on the fringe. She likes the cars and stuff, but she never really tackled any of it on her own. And so she approached me last year, and she was like, "Hey, you know, I'm really thinking about getting a project car, and you know, will you help me?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. It's awesome." And so she's discovered that she is, you know, she knows a lot about this now because she's just been in the throes of this project. And I'm like, dude, that's how I learned. That's how everyone learns. You just learn by doing. And I think stories like yours and hers and many women in this industry are going to spur others to get their hands dirty, so to speak.
Right. And I hope it does. I wish there were more women around, you know, especially women who want to be here for the right reasons. Um, you know, it's like if you love it, like I was at the track with Brent Speed in Ohio, and this was a couple years ago. It was my first year racing actually. And this woman came up to me and she said, "Do you mind talking to my daughter?" And I was like, "Yeah, no problem. Like, you know, what's going on?" And she was like, "Oh, she had said in school or something that she wanted to be a race car driver when she grew up, and everyone laughed at her, and she was
Awesome.
just like really down." And I talked to this little girl and I sat her in my car, and you know, we went through the whole thing, and I told her she could be a race car driver, and you know, she they came back like the next year. She came running up to me and gave me a big hug, and her mom told me that she had been looking for me in all the copies of Race Pages, which was like NMRA's magazine at that point. And she was following me on Instagram so that she could always like watch what I was doing. It was just, it's like, that kind of thing's awesome, you know, like, and I would do the same thing for a little boy. If a little boy was like really into it, I think kids are like, they're the next generation in this, and like, we have to raise them up to love it, you know? So.
That's cool, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that yesterday you told Greg and I that you know, you had one experience where someone was kind of like doubting your, I guess, knowledge about products or something like that when you were at Roush. And was that the only time that you ever experienced that?
No, no, it wasn't the only time, but there, you know, it doesn't happen often. I actually worked with someone that didn't like me, just did not like me, did not want me to succeed with my racing program by any stretch. Like, he would have probably done anything he could to cancel that entire thing if it was up to him. There's always those people, you know, they're always going to be there. But it made the success of my racing with them that much sweeter.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew it angered him. I knew it bothered him, and I was like, "This is great. I'm gonna come in tomorrow with, you know, my. I never got a first place finish. I got like multiple second place finishes. I still haven't gotten my trophy. I'm so angry about it. We actually have a wall with all of my second place plaques, and this is the wall of losers.
No,
because I can't get my first place trophy, but
you'll get it.
It's just a joke, you know. We have to nut ourselves a little bit, but it was just always nice to come home, to like come back to Michigan and to be like, yeah, I did really well this weekend. So
that's awesome.
There, you know.
Speaking of doing well and racing, so you were mentioning earlier that you have made some changes to your Fox. You're gonna put a new Coyote in there. Tell us about what you're going to do now. You're switching classes, right? And it's going to be a stick car.
Yeah, it's going to be a stick car. So we have to put a sealed engine in it because we're going Coyote stock. So the engine I had was a Gen 2, and it wasn't sealed. It had a supercharger. So we had to, I sold that one. We have to get ourselves a Gen 3, a sealed engine. And then we're going to get a G-Force with a Fidanza clutch. So we're going to be rolling gears. It's going to be, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really good. Like,
are you excited? I mean, like what do you expect going from automatic to?
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Because to be honest, the car was running like low 9s, which is great. It was fun. But I did it for so long, I was getting bored. I was like, I just want to go faster. And in the class I was in, it was a bracket class. So I had the fastest car in the class for no reason, you know, like I could have been running 16s and still been doing well, you know, probably doing better. But I had the fastest car in the class, and I was like, I can't speed it up anymore, and I'm bored. So when my husband was like, let's go Coyote stock, I was like, it was like slower than I was going, you know. But he's like, yeah, we'll put a stick in it. It's going to be a totally different animal. And he's right. I mean, watching those Coyote stock cars is next level. Like, it's crazy. So I'm super excited. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to get behind the wheel. I'm just like a little nervous because like I've never drag raced a stick car. I drove one for a really long time, but it's a different.
Yeah, that's got to have its own whole set of challenges.
Yeah.
But I'm curious though, for those of our viewers and listeners who don't know about the program, so you're not allowed to change anything on the engine since it's Coyote stock. What about the transmission? Can you change anything in the transmission?
Yeah, I think you can do whatever trans you want, probably within reason. I could be wrong. I just know that like we decided we're going to do the G11A, which fits in the rules. So I'm not entirely sure. I haven't like studied the rules because I'm not going to be ready till next season. So taking another season off. I took last season off. So it's been a while since I've been on a car.
That's so exciting. Greg, can you throw up some photos of the updates that Stephanie sent us earlier?
Yeah, I only sent one picture of it. And it's he just sprayed it. He just sprayed the engine bay and the jams and stuff. And we're doing like a custom House of Colors. It's like a 3-stage pearl.
Very
and
cool.
It is the best color. It's like an emerald green, but it's a different take on it.
That's awesome.
And I am so excited. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to see it like on the outside of the car.
That's literally like my favorite, one of my favorite Ford colors, outside of like grabber blue and stuff. But I would love to see it on a modern Mustang, like a wrap or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool. We picked this color. He sprayed it out. I told him what I wanted. I was like, in the shade, I want it to look black, but when the sun hits it, I want it to like glow green. And
yeah,
this
that's
does.
awesome, man.
It's a really, really, really beautiful color. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky I got that. And he did like a 750 cert cage in it, which is a little overkill.
I was literally just about to say that. I was gonna say, man, that thing is full cage, but you have a Coyote stock Coyote. I think, yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah, it's a little overkill. But he's like the king of safety, so it had to be safe. He builds, like, that's mostly what he does. It's what he really enjoys doing, is like roll cages and stuff. So everything's a rolling advertisement too. It's like, look what we can do. And like, we want to be able to have that flexibility that like when we decide that I want to go fast, it's ready to go. We don't have to tear the car apart again. And it's also like, I mean, it's not that big. It doesn't weigh. It really doesn't weigh anything. It's all chromoly, and so if anything, it's just going to make it more structurally sound.
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Hey, what's that in the background of this photo? Is that what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
Is the Barracuda you were telling me about?
No, that is not the one. That's a customer car. That's been like a very slow progression. And this photo is probably a few months old, because like I said, I haven't even been over there to see my car in like months. I haven't seen it. It's so sad.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. But the Barracuda that is being built is just came in like a month ago. It's been sitting outside. So he brought that in. We have photos of that too.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm getting them.
He's like, I'm getting. There's 3 of those. I gave you.
That's okay. Well, so tell us about the project before, as Greg gets the photos up.
The Barracuda.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband bought it when he was in high school, and he wanted to build a street car. So he had like seen it sitting outside this guy's house or something, and eventually he was like, I'm gonna ring the doorbell. So he rang the doorbell and eventually got his hands on it. And so it's been sitting outside like for like ever. It's just been sitting out there. So finally he was like, you know what? We're gonna build it. So we had a GT350 engine that Ford gave us. He's so excited.
I am too. It's not even my car. I'm excited.
I'm talking about you. You look so excited when the photo came up. Yeah, there it is. It's beautiful. So we had this GT350 engine sitting in the shop, and it was meant to be for my car before we decided to go Coyote stock. So it was just sitting there. So he ended up deciding to put that in it with a 2.9 Gen 3 Whipple.
Oh my
He's
God,
gonna put a T56 in it. So it's gonna be like a street car, but he like wants to do drag week with it and stuff. And he's
it's a 67?
It's a 68.
68, okay.
It's a 68. So he wants it to have AC. It's gonna have like all the creature comforts and
oh man, that's so cool. He's gonna piss so many people off.
So many people are gonna be so angry. So I mean, it has like those Sparco seats that are so beat up. Those seats belong to Jack Roush Jr.
Oh wow.
They were in Jack Roush Jr.'s competition car, and I needed seats for my Fox body, so he gave them to me, and now they're in this. So they're gonna get recovered, but they've had a storied life, those seats.
Was that the black New Edge?
the black New Edge. I don't
Jack
know.
Roush Jr.'s car?
I think it was red. I think the one you took it out of was red.
Dude, this thing is so cool. I love the project. Just the fact that like it's not only gonna piss off Mopar guys, but it's just gonna make everyone mad, and I like it.
Yeah, it's just gonna upset a lot of people. I think that's kind of like the goal. And also, like, we had all these things lying around. Why not throw them all together and make? Well, we don't have a streetcar. Like, it's crazy. Each of us has a truck, and then we have race cars, a whole bunch of them. But we don't have any streetcars. So now we're gonna have a streetcar around. So
yeah, that's Project Feather Rustler.
He's calling it Project Mofo. Mopar Ford.
I like it.
I always want to call it FOMO because of fear of missing out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna start seeing like even weirder swaps because to your point earlier, you were saying like, there wasn't a lot of options for someone who wanted to swap in a Coyote before, and for a long time that has been true about Gen 3 Hemis, and that if what we saw at SEMA and MPMC this year was any indication, I think the Gen 3 Hemi is going to be like the next LS, if you will.
Right.
Just, they've been around for so long. You can find them in junkyards for pretty cheap, relatively, and now there's a considerable aftermarket support. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about some other current events that have been happening in the Ford world. Specifically, something from the electric variety. You know what I'm talking about?
There's two different ones here. We could talk.
We're not going to talk about the Mach-E.
Why are we going to talk about the Mach-E?
We
could upset so many people talking about the Mach-E.
Well, I don't know where you stand on it, but I hate it, and I'm not afraid.
Do you hate it?
I can't stand it. I think it's so dumb.
Like the way it looks, or just the whole
idea? No. I think it's likely going to be a winner for Ford. I think it's I don't know, but I think it's probably based on the specs that they released. It's probably going to be a pretty cool car, but they shouldn't have called it a Mustang, and they shouldn't have badged it with the Mach anything. Just that's sacred. Come on.
Okay. I gotta watch what I say because my readers will just go rogue on me here. I don't want to lose them all, but most of them are not very happy about it. It seems like the older generation seems to not at all be happy. The younger guys are much more open to it. They're like, okay, cool. Like, it's a cool daily driver if you have a Mustang in the garage, I think it's kind of cool. Like, I know I'm going to get so much hate. But I just think it's like, listen, if Ford didn't step up and do something and Chevy did, and then everyone else did, and then we were like fifth in line, it's like, you don't want to be there either, So maybe they shouldn't have called it the Mustang. I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
I totally get that. I wrote a pretty fiery article when it first came out, right? And
what's this article?
It's on streetmusclemag.com.
Oh, I gotta look.
I believe it's called Mockery, or What a Mockery. Yeah, that's what it was called.
That's pretty clever.
Thank you. And so I got no problem with the vehicle. I don't have anything against electric cars. I think they're the future, and I've said that, and that was my contention in the article. I just don't, one of my favorite things about this job is being a historian, and heritage is important to me, and I think there aren't many brands that carry as much weight as the Mustang brand. And that's both why I think Ford did it and why I think they shouldn't have done it. But that's just one man's opinion.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I think there are points on both sides. It doesn't bother me because I'm all for innovation. I just think innovation, if you're not innovating, you're dying. And I think I guess it could be argued they shouldn't have called it the Mustang, but I also think it made waves. When they did that, people paid attention.
It was a wildly intelligent marketing move. 100%.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from them. Other than the fact that, I think the Mach name should be reserved for Mach 1s, but that's just me.
Okay.
And Greg, you know what? I think we've talked about this, but I don't know where you stand on it.
I plead the fifth.
Oh,
you're a Mustang, dude. You have to weigh in. Come on.
You both weighed in.
I honestly, I wish they hadn't used the name. Just because it's an SUV. I don't care about it being electric. An electric SUV was coming whether you wanted it or not. It was going to be there. I don't think any SUV should have the Mustang name. The Mustang is not an SUV. It shouldn't be an SUV.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it was marketing. I'm an old soul, so maybe that's why I'm a crotchety old man at the ripe old age of 36.
Truthfully, I wouldn't be surprised though if we saw Chevy do something similar with the Corvette name and branch off and do their whole own like separate line of Corvette branded vehicles, like a Corvette SUV.
I would be against that too.
Maybe
I
totally
would.
I don't know that they would have done it before, but maybe now, because like I said, innovate or die.
Exactly.
Well, didn't the CEO of GM's come out and say there will never be? Well, I think she said Camaro.
Yeah, but CEOs come and go.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very true.
They do. They come and go. So who knows? You can never say never. Oh, there we go. There we go. Listen, I drive a GM truck, so.
Well, they're the best on the road.
Now I'm definitely going to lose readers.
No, I don't know. You go through the pits in an NMRA race, and you see a lot of things other than a blue oval towing that stuff.
That's true.
I am anything but brand myopic. I like them all. They're, as long as it's domestic.
You heard it here. Vinny likes imports.
Easy.
I'm not.
I think I got into it with somebody at SEMA about this. Why don't you like imports? I was like, I have some feelings.
Is good. But hey, you guys, I got to take a break because I got to go. I got to plug my computer in. So I'll be right back. And when I get back, Stephanie, we can talk about the other electric Ford. You were talking about how they would. Greg, you said that they would never do a Camaro.
No. I'm sorry. They would never do a Camaro SUV. I kind of.
I was going to say
you jumped up. You freaked out. I'm like, no. She was basically saying they would never pull what Ford pulled.
I got you. I agree.
Ford pulled.
You know what I mean. Like, and yes, they did pull that.
They kind of already did. Like, if you look at the new Blazer, it looks like a Camaro, man.
Oh, absolutely. I think the Blazer looks amazing.
It's awesome. It's totally aggressive. But you know what they didn't call it? They didn't call it a Z28.
Ooh, that would have. Ooh, they would have rioted.
That was a sick burn, Vinny.
They didn't. I'm just saying they didn't brand it as something.
But they did design the new Corvette to kind of look like a Ford GT. So there's that.
That's the first I'm hearing.
It kind of does side by side. Like, I'm sorry, not side by side. Like the side profile.
The profile, yeah, I could see that.
Pretty similar.
I could see that.
You have to look it up. It's interesting. I mean, from like the front, no, you don't see it at all. But it's just interesting that the side profiles are so similar. It
doesn't look anything like a Corvette, a traditional Corvette, and that's
No, it doesn't. And I was a big fan of like the last generation of Corvettes. I thought they were beautiful.
The C7, I think, is the pinnacle Corvette as far as looks go. But we're getting off topic here. We need to get back to Fords, electric Fords. Greg, I know you had something on this. What?
Well,
you take it.
You're talking about the electric Cobra Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love my blue oval, but GM sure was quick when they all dropped it to talk about how they're 2 years late. And let's be honest, because the e-Copo happened 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And let's be honest, they are 2 years late.
Attention to Copos.
Ooh,
wow.
Just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. But really, I mean, they made an electric Cobra Jet and it broke the internet for a day or two. So
I think it was totally cool. And you know what? I think a precursor to that, which should have made a lot more waves, but I felt like it didn't, was the Mustang Lithium at SEMA.
Yeah.
That's a love right there.
That might have been like an Easter egg.
I think so. That thing was awesome. It had a 6-speed and it was electric. I was like, this thing is cool. Why are more people not fawning over this? And now probably I see why the electric Cobra Jet is, you know, the big boy on the block. What is going on with that, by the way, Stephanie?
What?
What is going on with that, by the way? Do you know anything? I assume that you know more than I do. I don't.
Electric Cobra Jet?
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about like where it's currently at, but I do know that when it launched, it was similar to the Mustang Mach-E. People were angry. People loved it. Yeah, you know, I think like purists. I mean, the Cobra Jet enthusiasts are Cobra Jet enthusiasts. They like V8s, loud, crazy, fast, and they saw this, you know, silent Cobra Jet come at them, and they were like, I'm not having it. I think it's badass. I think it's so cool.
I agree.
I wouldn't want one, you know, but I think people like, I mean, okay, hold on. I would rather have, you know, a typical Cobra Jet over an electric Cobra Jet. But I think that like people like were all freaked out about it. I think people for some reason get in their own heads when they see all these electric things and they're like, Ford is going to completely stop making gas engines and, you know, Cobra Jets and V8s and all this. And I don't think that's the case. I think people kind of like, they get scared, you know? I think that's kind of more what it is. Like people are just like, oh, like, is this the way the world is moving? You know?
Yeah, people don't like change, that's for sure.
No.
And you know, it seems to be our culture right now to just voice negative opinions or challenge things. It's easier to do that than to say something positive.
Right.
And you know, the same goes for cars or anything else. And yeah, I think an electric Cobra Jet's bitching, and I would love to see one run against an e-Copo, and both of them do silent wheelies. Awesome.
Silent wheelies just off the line.
Well, you know what they're going to sound like if you've ever seen a car like, you know, blow its engine and that complete silence as it goes sideways because it got in its own oil. That's what it's going to sound like. So I have a feeling you're going to see photographers kind of jumping out.
Yeah,
like
how do you
just
know
because it's like PTSD type stuff with you hear that sound, you know something bad is happening. Like it's not clicking in your brain that it's okay.
Actually is going wrong because
Imagine hearing like things fail that you wouldn't hear because of exhaust, like an axle snapping or like that'd be nuts.
That'd be terrifying to listen to. Oh my God.
I heard that they sound like big cell phone, like a big cell phone buzzing.
Well, did you see the video on the launch date?
I've seen the e-Copo launch. I haven't seen the electric Cobra Jet.
They did a video, like when they launched the car, they did a video of it and they show it on a drag strip, and it's
Greg,
just like a little whistle almost.
Really?
There's like music in the background, from what I remember, but like you can like
hear I was very upset with that video because it wasn't just the sound. I wanted to hear
they should
just the sound.
Shut the music down for that.
Well, I mean, a great comparison is, I don't know if you've ever seen the electric drift car video.
No.
It's literally drifting for like a solid 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
With no engine. Like it's just tires spinning on pavement. It is a weird sound.
That's wild, man. Weird. Greg, should I try to find it, or is that
I'm trying to find it right now.
Okay, sorry.
I think it's in I did a news item on Ford Muscle.
FordMuscle.com, everybody check it out.
Yeah, check that out. Go to my news. I got news. Let
us know in the comment section, what do you guys think? How do you feel about electric race cars, e-Copo, e-Cobra Jet? You know, are they cool? Are they lame? What was that, Stephanie?
Like the Mach-E. Like, what's the deal? Would you drive it? Because I would drive it.
I'd drive it. I'm not happy with the name, but that doesn't make it a bad car.
What would you do if they made the lithium and they called it the Mustang Mach-E? How would you feel about that?
I think that makes a lot more sense.
Oh, yeah, that's
But you'd be okay with the Mach nameplate on that?
Yeah, because it's a sports car.
Okay.
Actually, I think that that should have been what happened.
Yeah,
That
totally.
makes a lot of sense. Like, that's cool to me.
Don't you think though that like the Mustang purists would have flipped out even more because they were making a Mustang electric? I don't know.
I think it would have been an easier pill to swallow. They probably still wouldn't have liked it, but at least there's a leg to stand on for Ford and say, well, it's still a Mustang.
That's true. I guess so. I think it would have faced a different set of issues, maybe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like I just said, people are always going to find something to gripe about, and
They do it with every new model year too.
Yeah,
I got the video if you guys want to watch it.
Yeah, let's check it out. Okay, that's pretty cool.
So it's just like whistle. It sounds like a blower.
Yeah.
Just that's it. Just
that's
all
pretty
you can
cool.
blow. I thought it was cool. I don't know. I don't know how many they're gonna make. I don't remember if they released that or like what the deal is with that. How many they're gonna build.
What's the deal with the 1400 designation? Is that like watts or something?
Horsepower.
Is that horsepower? I was gonna say I think I remember it saying it was 1400 horsepower, but I would have to look back at my article. I feel like
it's horsepower equivalent or whatever because they don't really rate
by horsepower.
Kilowatt.
Yeah. I mean, you can directly translate kilowatts into horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, just if you've ever seen like a Australian dyno.
Yeah, I think kilowatts. It's like, nah, I'm gonna get this wrong.
0.747. I'm willing to say that off the top of my head, and I will now go Google to see if I'm right. Like, I'm willing to put that out there. That's how confident I am that it's a 0.747 conversion factor.
I think that was a totally cool video, though. Like, that would get me hyped if I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to Greg, editor of Engine Labs. I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm excited to learn about electric cars as a whole. I can't claim to be an expert on any one discipline of the mechanical workings of a car. But I'm excited to see what comes next, and learn that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a Motor Labs. And that's not a slam. That's not a slam on it. I feel like the internal combustion engine has a following, and I know I'm going to catch slack for this, and I don't mean to be insulting, but an electric motor doesn't have as much of a soul. I mean, okay, you're going to add windings, you're going to reduce windings. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, we've spent 50, 60 years kind of perfecting the internal combustion engine. And there's still room to grow. The electric motor is like, yeah, it's been around for a really long time, and I'm sure that they've reached a very high level of efficiency. But there's racers, hot rodders, they're still going to figure out how to make it better.
Well, I think at this point it's all battery storage issues and being able to discharge at higher rates. And I think the motors themselves, you can always make an electric motor better by adding windings and stuff like that. But I think being able to make it super duper, powerful, you get into discharge issues and discharge rates and charging rates and capacity.
What does a power adder look like for an electric vehicle?
That's a good question.
Elon, where are you at, dude? Elon Musk, if you're watching, drop it in the comments. How do we make these things faster?
Well, Tesla does offer like a power adder upgrade.
Yeah, so there's like tiers, right, of like the different engine levels, and I believe same thing for the Mach-E. There's like
5 different versions, but I don't know what the difference is like with power. I just know that there's like a premium and a California edition, but I don't know if that's just like,
I believe the GT is like the highest level of performance.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
And I can't remember the horsepower numbers, but it's considerable, and they're claiming a faster 0 to 60 time than our most stout muscle cars. So it's what a time to be alive.
Somebody spotted one on the road already the other day. Yeah, I saw someone posted like a spy shot, and they were really upset about it.
Man.
They were like, oh man, they're out on the road already. I was like, come on, it's exciting.
I bet they were already looking for a crowd.
Oh,
Okay.
You know, Vinny, I just realized something just dawned on me. Something you said to me earlier today, and you're sitting here giving me crap saying, the soul of an electric motor just isn't there. You didn't care about power. You just wanted that chop from the cam.
Yeah.
You tell me that's not a soul thing. You just wanted the sound and the feel. You didn't care about power.
I have fast cars, dude. I want the. Greg's referencing. I recently picked up a new. Yeah, I recently picked up a new project. It's a 71 El Camino 350 car. Very cool. But I've always wanted a big block nitrous car, and I think this is the perfect one to do it with. And so Greg was asking me all these very specific engine building questions, and I'm like, dude, I'm not a mathematician. I just want the chop. So, there you go.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah.
But I digress. Anyways, so Stephanie, I won't take up too much more of your time. I am curious what's going on Ford Muscle. What do you have coming up? What should our viewers and listeners be on the lookout for? And plug away.
So we have some cool stuff going on. Right now we have a new project truck. It is an F100, and it's getting a Gen 3 Illuminator Coyote. And Silver Sport Transmissions just put a Magnum, a Tremec Magnum in it. So it's going to be a stick shift truck. And it's really cool. Actually, the first story is hopefully dropping tomorrow. It may be Monday. But that truck belongs to Ivan, which is one of someone on our sales team. So that's going to be a super we're all in. That truck is being built right now. He's so busy, which means I'm about to be very busy. So, so that's coming up. We're going to have a ton of content on that. Everything from, this transmission, the swap kit, it was an automatic truck. So Silver Sport Transmissions developed this swap kit using his truck. They actually took it and used it. And now you can buy that, or maybe not yet, but you'll be able to buy that kit. And I mean, he's doing everything. QA1 has a huge part in this build. Bare brakes, Ford, with the Coyote. And so that's going to be huge. That'll be all over the place in the next few months. And then we also have Project Red Storm, which should be coming up shortly. That's a new F-150. I think it's like a 2017, I want to say. Might be it might even be a 2019. But that's getting a Whipple.
Oh.
And just a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to do a whole bunch of testing on it and see what that can do. So that'll be like probably about a 5-part series. So those are both coming up. We always have fresh news, trying to, keep our eyes on everything going on in the industry. Luckily, things have slowed down a little bit, so we can catch up right now. But once we get back to racing, it's game on.
Perfect. Yeah. For our readers and viewers, we will drop the links to those Ford Muscle articles in the comment section below. The one for the electric Cobra Jet, and I believe you have updates for Ivan's truck. I've been seeing him. That guy has been moving on that project. I think the last updates that you guys published were on the QA1 suspension system. And man, that truck is going to be so rad. It's got the perfect patina, but underneath it's going to be done to the hill.
Badass. We're really excited for it. And he's going to drive the hell out of it and just enjoy it. So that'll be all over FordMuscle.com when it's ready. Right now, we're just doing some sharing on Facebook whenever we have an update on it. But these articles take time to get out. So
yeah,
they'll be out as soon as they can be. So keep your eye out.
Cool. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on the show, making time for us. I really enjoyed talking to you and getting your perspective on a lot of things. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. This was fun. We should do it again.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have any myself back on your show.
Yeah, no, you're welcome anytime. If you have any parting shots, now's the time, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything for you guys, but check out FordMuscle.com and yeah, we'll chat soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinny. Thanks, Greg.
No problem.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
You know, man, it was really cool to talk to her because, she lives on the East Coast. She's a remote employee for Power Automedia. And so I haven't had a whole lot of one-on-one interaction with her just at shows and things like that. But she's always been a really nice person. And, every time that we've talked, it's been a good interaction. And I know she's a big, big Ford person. And so I like Fords too. I like Mopars. I like them all. But I'll just say this: most of my fleet of cars are all GM, and so us getting a chance to kind of trade a little bit of banter was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Ford guy, so I always enjoy talking with our Ford people. But she's she's raced in where I cut my teeth, with NMRA and everything. So a lot of good familiar memories coming back when she's talking about Coyote stock and stuff. And then she's talking about Ivan's truck, and I'm still a little disappointed in Ivan's truck. There was a brief talk. I think alcohol may have been a little bit involved. I'm not going to say, with Ivan, where we were texting back and forth, where we were talking about importing a Barra engine from Australia and maybe putting it in the truck.
Come on.
I would have loved it. I mean, I want to do a Barra project in the worst way, but I get that's not realistic. But I'm still going to hold that grudge forever.
Good Lord. How much would it cost to import one of those?
Well, that's the thing. We were talking to somebody who could have facilitated it for us. I mean, we were literally it was just talking, but we had stuff in place. It could have happened.
Well, I know when we met with Ford at MPMC, they were very cloak and dagger when we went in, and they were like, it was a strange meeting, but it was cool, and I'm so glad that it ended up happening. And Ivan was able to source an engine from Ford. Thank you, Ford, for his project. Totally cool, man.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is now I'm not going to give any release dates, not because I'm being secretive, but just I really don't know. I'm going to be doing something on his crate engine. And if you've ever wanted to see the inside of a crate engine, without actually tearing down a brand new engine, we're going to have that because we're going to get pictures of it going together.
Very cool.
So I've been talking with Ford about that. That's going to be a really cool article. It's just a matter of when it's his turn on the assembly line. We've already coordinated to have a photographer there.
Well, dude, he's got the wheels and tires. He's got the suspension on. I believe he's working on the brakes, or he already has the brakes. He already prepped the frame. The body's off. I think that's really all that's left is maybe interior and the engine. So he
doesn't have a slow speed.
No,
I mean, having worked with him on the that 1,000 horsepower Whipple build, I remember when we first got the engine back from Livernois, we had the tracking. It arrived at the hub on like a Friday, right? So he texts me middle of the day and he's like, "Look, I got it. It's in the back of his truck." It was like Saturday evening and he has a picture of it in the car.
Yeah, man.
And like Sunday it was running.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're talking, brand new engine, and he had a million other things to, button up. Pardon me. And yeah, he's a hard worker. And when he gets a new project, he goes full bore.
100%, man. And you know what? He's got the setup. He's out in Tennessee. He has a, really beautiful piece of land with a big farm or with a big barn on it. And so he has a great workshop. And I'm seriously jealous because Southern California real estate is at a premium. For him, I'm sure that's a treat, man. When he's done with his work day, getting to go over there and work on his new truck. Yeah. Good for him, good for us, good for our readers, good for Ford Muscle readers, because we got some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. Same thing for Engine Labs. I believe that you just published something today, or you're publishing something tomorrow, right, Greg?
Well, I've got. Let's see. This week was the super webinar recap.
Oh, that's right.
Seriously, again, I know I'm harping on it. I think I said this last week. Go watch it. Go download it. It's free. Put on your thinking cap. It's just an absolutely just mind melting. Like I said, one of Billy Godbold's talks. When he speaks engineer, and I love listening to them, but sometimes my brain just leaks out of my ear.
Well, that's why the Engine Lab's following and everybody else who gets to read your articles should be eternally grateful for you, Greg, because you take the indecipherable and break it down for the layman like myself.
Well, I'm not going to lie on this one. I didn't. I basically just said, this is what they're talking about. Go listen to them. I mean, honestly, there's so much information. It would have taken me 3,000 words to really get in depth with what they're talking about. But then if you're not feeling like, putting your brain into it, I also posted a cool thing from Haggerty, their Redline Rebuild series on that Stovebolt 6.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Stovebolt 6. They are really unique engines.
Are those the ones that have an integrated manifold?
Well, yeah. Well, it's not integrated, but the intake and exhaust manifold is a single unit.
Okay, yeah.
And it's because it's not a cross-flow head. It's got all the push rods on one side of the engine. They're kind of external, not really external, but there's a cover plate, but they have it off for this. And it's just, one of those cool things is just fun to watch and watch them bring it back to life. Because I think this model, brand new, made a whopping 90 horsepower. And it's one of the few engines that they never tried to say was a great performer. It was just like, hey, guess what? It's cheap.
Well, Haggerty's done a couple of those builds now, right? They did the 350 teardown and rebuild, and that was really cool.
Oh, they've expanded a lot, because it used to be, I want to say the first 4 span 2 seasons that they call it.
Yeah.
And now they have season 3, which has 7 or 8 in them. But I mean, they've done the 11,000 horsepower drag Hemi. We've done I believe it was a 280. Was it a 289 or was it 302? I don't remember. It was an older Windsor. I don't remember exactly which one.
Mm-hmm.
But they did that one. We've covered that, and then there was another one I can't remember now, obviously, because it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, they're really good at that.
I really enjoy that series that they've been doing. It's totally cool. Let's see. Oh, for Street Muscle. Yes. Street Muscle, I've been working all week on a project that I've been kind of slowly working on for the past few months, and it's going to be a mini series. So a lot of short articles. I'm not sure how many episodes are going to be in this mini series, but it's a really fun project. It's totally cool. It's the one that you always give me crap about, Greg. It's about my van, about converting a derelict 90s kind of creeper van into a really cool 70s era funky surf van or street van, whichever you prefer. But yeah, so we took this really haggard 90s van and converted it to be a 70s era street van, and it's been a passion project of mine for a little while. It's totally cool, and the first one will publish tomorrow. Well, which will be today technically, because we pre-record.
And I only give you grief out of love. I mean, it's a cool project. I mean,
I appreciate that, man. It's, they're not for everybody, but I will say this: you don't get vans until you own one. They're totally cool. When we were talking to Mike Copeland and he said he was a former vanner, I was like, mind blown, dude. I was totally into it. I got it. That and let's see. Project Snake Eyes, our 72 Monte Carlo that's been over at CPP. It's still there. And we're buttoning up some things, but the next article in that series is going to be published probably Monday, and it covers all the accessories that one needs to install a bolt-on supercharger kit from TorqueStorm, or
very cool,
pretty much anywhere else. So yeah, so that's what we got going on in Street Muscle. As always, check out streetmusclemag.com, check out enginelabs.com, check out fordmuscle.com, and all of the other titles under the Power Automedia umbrella. You can catch us here next week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right?
Yep.
Let us know in the comment section who you want to see next. Let us know what you want us to cover, what topics you might want to go over. Greg and I have been toying with the idea of doing some specific episodes where we cover things like, how to photograph cars, how to conduct an interview, how to do a lot of things. So let us know what you want to see in the comment section below, and we'll see you next week. Greg, you got anything?
No, I definitely want to follow along with Stephanie with that CUDA.
Definitely, dude. That thing's awesome.
I mean, honestly, I know we're trying to wrap up, but it's going through my brain. Literally, what's wider than a Gen 2 Hemi?
A Coyote.
Like, so yeah, I mean, it's a perfect fit. That thing's going to be so cool. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. I really like pissing off the purists, and it's just for fun because I totally get it. I mean, if you have a very rare car, or you're just into originality, I get that. I totally get it, and I respect it. And if you want to show me some concourse level cars, love them. But I also like people having fun with their builds and just kind of doing things a little different.
And on that note, I'm a little bummed that nobody seemed to like my paint it yellow with a white top Nash Bridges idea. I mean, come on.
I think that was a hard sell even in their production room.
I'm just saying.
Although, Mopar guys,
90s TV.
Yeah, Mopar guys like those colors that are out there, man. In fact, if you guys want to know about the car that Greg's talking about, the Nash Bridges CUDA, we actually did an article on it not too long ago. Rob Finkelman, one of our staff, he did a Rob's Movie Muscle, which is actually supposed to be about movies, but it was this one was a bit of a departure where we tackled something from television. But it's a totally cool car with a totally cool story, and in fact, I'll drop the link in the comment section below. You guys can check it out. And with that, I think we're good, Greg.
Yep, I think we're good till next week.
Cool. We'll see you guys next time, 12 p.m. next week. Check it out.
Adios.